Sia Alonto Adjong, who will deliver his opening statement.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang hapon na po, tanghali sa ating lahat. Nagpapasalamat po ako dahil nagkaroon naman tayo ng pagkakataon na mapag-usapan kung anong mga bagay at mga issues concerning our nation today. So I will be accepting your questions now. Maraming pong salamat.
Thank you, sir. Melalis Moras from PTV4.
Hi, good morning po, Kong Zia. Kahapon idinaos na yung final interagency meeting para sa SONA 2025. Kayo po bilang isang mambabatas, meron na po ba kayong wish list o mga nais marinig sa magiging talumpati ng presidente sa nalalapit na SONA?
Una sa lahat, ako sa ngayon, no, very, very important na malaman. Personally, I would say, because I'm one of those members who have filed for the total ban of e-gambling. No? Dahil alam po natin ito, hindi lang ito nakaka-apekto sa ating mga kabataan sa ngayon, sa ating marginalized sector. Ito yung pinaka-issue dito is it may not only be but a concern of mental health problem because it is very addictive. It may also be a problem it may also turn into a police problem, no? Security problem kung hindi nagmasok po ito. So I would like to know the clear direction of this administration when it comes to regulating this kind of industry, emerging industry. Pangalawa, I also would like to know directly from the SONA, from the President himself, what would be the necessary reforms in terms of upholding accountability and transparency in all of our government transactions, especially those public officials involved. How do we manage to perfectly allow the utilization of confidential funds, intelligence funds, so that it can also be used, implemented according to what the law demands and what the law allows. So kasi tumataas nga po ito ng clamor ng public accountability. So I hope to learn from the President on what kind of direction should we go, no, in terms of this type of effort in order to curb corruption in our government. And most especially since we've seen during the 19th Congress na meron talagang kailangan nating i-amendahan ng mga batas. That's why we have several investigations that we had. There were also individuals who came out in the open, even putting themselves at risk, yung mga sinasabi nating mga whistleblowers. So I also like to hear from the SONA on how we can strengthen our witness protection program so that people, those who are coming out, in order to say the truth, inform the public kung ano yung nangyayari, ay mabigyan ng sapat na assistance. Gusto ko lang din malaman, no, kung the direction of the President insofar as our effort to support the Secretary Angara's proposal doon sa learning recovery and development skills na gusto niyang ihain. Kasi kailangan talaga ho natin mag-catch up, no, with the trend right now na we're ranking 57. So I guess DepEd really needs our support, not only of legislation, but direct implementation orders come from the executive on how we can support and help our educational sector.
Thank you po, Kong.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mela. Tina Pangaliban Perez from GMA7 is now recognized.
Good noon, sir.
Good noon.
Sir, sa latest SWS survey on the impeachment, 66% of the respondents agreed. Kasama po dun sa mga taga Mindanao where you're from, 55% po yung nag-agree rin. 19% disagreed and 15% are undecided on the issue of whether or not the VP should address the allegations in the impeachment. Your thoughts po?
It's a direct expression of what the people says that we are what the 19th Congress did and what we continuously do, holding each officials, the Vice President in this particular matter, accountable to her actions, is a vindication from the public that there's really a clamor ng ating taong bayan na dapat yung public clamor for accountability na mga issues na hindi nasagot ay dapat masagot sa tamang paraan, which is this case, the impeachment trial. So, nagpapatunay po ito na we are on the right track. What we did was actually to serve not any particular political agenda, but for the interest of the nation. And the people understood that message. Kaya yung survey na mataas na sinasabing kailangan umpisahan ang impeachment trial ay vindication po yan unang-una sa mga sa ginawa po natin na para panagutin kung sino man yung dapat managot without fear or favor. So we're happy personally as one of those who supported the impeachment complaint, affixed my signature. I feel that I'm vindicated and I feel that the people are with us in holding public officials accountable to their actions.
Pero sir, may impact po ba itong public clamor na ito? Because there had been surveys in the past where the respondents agreed that the trial should have already started.
I think the message that the public wants to send to us as public officials is to be more attuned and compliant with what the Constitution says. And the Constitution says that those impeachable officers, if they are facing serious violations that is tantamount to betrayal of public trust, then impeachment trial, as demanded by the Constitution, should proceed. I'm up for a discussion and I even support the amending some provisions, key provisions in the Constitution kasi matagal na po itong Constitution na ito. Matanda na po itong kasi mas matanda po itong Constitution sa mga tao na nandito ngayon sa kwarto na ito. I guess we need to make sure that our Constitution is alive, dynamic, that it can also reflect the current situation, the current demand of the country. So the reason why I supported the effort to amend key provisions in the Constitution, particularly the economic provision, so that we can also be at par and compete with the international market trend. Kasi mukhang wawala na po tayo, medyo nasa dulo na po tayo. So, if there is an effort to again revive the issue on constitutional amendments to cite specific provisions, then I am up for it.
Pero sir, how will you address yung fears po ng marami na this will open the doors to political amendments?
Similar to what we have answered in the previous interviews such as this, na I would stick to limiting the discussion on key provisions. Hindi pag-uusapan yung political provisions ng ating Constitution. It is just merely surgical. We target what are the causes of why the country is now lagging behind in terms of socio-economic condition compared to our ASEAN neighbors, and let's stick to that and no longer delve on matters that may affect not constructively the mindset of the people insofar as knowing the political situation, halimbawa na baka ang fear nila is mapunta doon sa usapin ng pampolitika. So ang akin lang po, ang aking position dyan, similar with our position in the previous Congress, in the 19th Congress, limitado lang po yung pag-uusapan at hindi po mag-i-expand dyan sa complete revision ng ating Constitution.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Earl Tobias from IBC 13. Go ahead.
Hi, Kong Zia. Good afternoon po. Sir, kahapon, nag-file po si Kong Benny Abante ng total ban of all forms ng online gambling. Kaya na naman po, nakuha ko yung sentimento ni Attorney Shell Jokno. Ang sinusulong ng Akbayan Party List ay restriction or strict regulation. Pero kung kayo po ang tatanungin, Kong, as we've said before, gusto nyo nga na total ban sana. Kung yun po ang point of debate, saan po kayo mas papanik?
Ang sa akin lang, very very basic po ang aking proposal at aking gusto. If we want to remove the poisonous tree, you uproot it, not to trim the branches. Kasi ang problema po ngayon sa e-sugal or e-gambling, mahirap talaga i-police at i-monitor dyan. So, hindi ho ako, masakit ho naisipin na sabihin ho natin na i-restrict man lang natin, but the website, pumapasok pa rin yung mga sinasabi nilang specialty platforms na games na platforms na bilang nagpa-pop up. So the problem really is not just to restrict it and allow its operation, but the impact of that if we continue on allowing this kind of games online. Kasi digital na nga po yan and everybody has phones, even our children. Ang problema sa ngayon, masyado nang tumataas po yung youth addiction sa gambling because of this online gambling. Sabi ko nga po, hindi lang po problema yan ata sa yung financial distress ng pamilya. Hindi lang ito problema sa addiction sa mga kabataan. Pag inaalaw po natin ito ay mukhang magiging problema. National, it could also be a peace and order problem. Sa totoo lang po, wala naman hong yumayaman na sugarol. Ang yumayaman lang po ang nag-ooperate ng pasugalan. Lahat po yan, alam na hong natin yan, lahat po nang nagsusugal at nalululon sa ganitong bisyo ay umuuwing talunan. Ang pinaka-problema is nagkakaroon ito ng sanhi sa pagkakahiwa-hiwalay at pagwatak-watak ng pamilya.
Thank you, Kong. Follow-up ko na lang po sa tanong ni Ate Mela kanina. Nasabi niyo na rin po before na parang comparable ito sa illegal pogo issue
Yes.
na natatanggap natin dati before the SONA mismo ng Pangulo. Gaano po ka-critical na sa Pangulo mismo manggaling yung direktiba na parang nung pagbaba ng illegal pogo last year ay ganun din sana yung mangyaring posisyon niya sa kanya?
If Malacanang puts its weight on the pressure of banning the e-sugal or e-gambling, no, from the operation, talagang magiging priority yan because whatever the President says, either verbally, would become a state policy. So ako, ang position ko, let us not compromise yung safety, public safety, which should not compromise yung ating mga kabataan na malulong sa ganitong klaseng bisyo. And the marginalized. Ang problema is yung marginalized sector minsan ang nagiging biktima. We should not compromise that just for a mere possible revenue na makukuha. No? Kasi yun ang parating sinasabi. Ako mahirap ko yung i-compromise personally na ayokong may makita na kung hindi ko ito masusukpo, in the long-term effect of this would be devastating not only to the youth but even to the country as a whole. Yung moral fabric, pinag-uusapan po natin, talagang it will start to erode.
Thank you, Earl. We call on Rosalie Cas from UNTB. Please go ahead.
Good dun po, Kong. Earlier today po, nag-file po ang Makabayan lawmakers po ng isang proposal para gawing 5% ng GDP. Yun pong inilalaan na pondo ng pamahalaan sa health sector po. Would you support such measure?
Ako, anything that would provide a larger effort, the volume of effort in the larger help and assistance to education and to health, I'm open for it. That's why ako personally nag-file din po ako ng pag-amenda ng charter ng PhilHealth to include not only the dependents, to expand the definition to include neurodivergent individuals. Kasi based on the charter ng PhilHealth ngayon, is limited lang sila dun sa mental and physical disability as a definition for those who are independent, ng mga direct members ng PhilHealth. So I guess any discussion about aligning specifically in institutionalizing support and assistance to public health, I am up for it and I would probably support.
Pero sir, kailangan po ba magkaroon ng pagbabago dun po sa prioridad ng budget allocation ng pamahalaan? Kasi para po mapataas sa 5% yung GDP, 5% ng GDP ang health services, dapat po mas maging prioridad ng gobyerno yun pong kalusugan kaysa sa infrastructure projects.
Sa akin, lahat naman yan, if you look at it comprehensively, it is all the proposals of the government through the NEP are interconnected. So you cannot actually compartmentalize one from the other. Everything is connected. That's why it's the national budget proposal. Kasi lahat po yan importante. So ang akin lang is how to prioritize the sectors in our society that really requires immediate assistance and help. So I guess education is number one because that's even the demand of the Constitution. And number two is public health concern. Now, when it comes to infrastructure, portion of the public health, when we talk about public health, would also be, again, facilities, medical facilities. So hindi lang doon sa actual na programa o legislation, but even the physical demand that necessary for this sector to move forward to better the services, andyan din po ang infrastruktura. So sabi ko nga, everything is interconnected and we're looking forward to receive the National Expenditure Program probably in the coming months.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. We now invite Kat Forbes from Radio Pilipinas for her questions.
Sir, since nabanggit niyo na din po kanina yung tungkol po sa budget, so the President approved po yung 6.793 trillion, kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, na 2026 proposed national budget. And sabi niyo nga po, inaasahan niyo pong matatanggap na ito ng Kamara in the next coming weeks. Ano po ba yung inyo pong inaasahan for this budget? Ano po ba yung dapat asahan sa deliberation? Kayo po, ano po yung mga isusulong ninyo na sana mapondohan po ng maayos?
Una po, yung budget should be a reflection of what the country needs and what our people really needs, no? Hindi lang ho ito figure. Ito ay reflection kung ano yung prioridad ng ating gobyerno. Una, sinabi ko na nga po na we have to support Secretary Angara's proposal to revive our educational system. No? Pangalawa, at yung kailangan po yung itong pondo na ito at itong NEP na ito ay matulungan niya yung pagbaba talaga ng presyo ng bilihin basic services. Kasi ultimately, I guess the President, if you listen to him in his previous SONA, talagang nilagyan niya ng emphasis on the food security. That it did so many challenges from that sector. So I think I would expect that in the coming budget proposal under the NEP, malaki pong emphasis doon yung food security, and not only education, food security, but even those efforts on how we can lower down yung mga basic commodities na para masuporta para po sa ating mga kababayan, para po talagang ma-maintain po natin, at least mas stabilize po natin yung presyo sa bilihin sa merkado, kasi it goes directly to the people. You're talking about food on the table, which everybody can relate to.
Sir, madagdag ko lang po dun sa budget po. I think 2 weeks ago or a week ago, nag-file po ng resolution si TGP Party List Representative Bong Teves for the open BICAM. Sa Young Guns Block po ba, meron din po bang move for a resolution to have an open BICAM, lalo na po sa budget?
So ako support that kasi sabi ko nga this 19th Congress, the reason why tumaas po ang survey, yung trust rating ng 19th Congress, because kung mapapansin niyo po, we are actually working to uphold and promote a clear understanding and no-nonsense definition of what transparency and accountability means sa ating mga tao. So anything that would support that philosophy and to make sure that government transactions should be made available and transparent to the people, we will support. I think kung makakatulong talaga at makakatulong naman talaga yung open BICAM. Ako personally, I haven't discussed it with the rest of the members of the Young Guns, but I personally would go up for it. Mag-support ng mga open BICAM. Even I think the speaker has already mentioned and has already expressed his support for the open BICAM.
Sir, nabanggit niyo na rin po kanina yung tumaas po na trust rating sa House of Representatives. Trust rating din po ng Pangulo, tumaas din po. And even po si Speaker Martin Romualdez during his leadership during the 19th Congress. Parang historically, medyo kakaiba po ito dahil nga pag natatapos po yung Congress, usually mababa yung trust rating sa Congress o sa institution. Pero ito po tumaas. And this is despite po yung mga issues, hounding po na binabado kayo because of the impeachment. Ano po yung inyong masasabi dito? What does it say po sa yung leadership po ng House and even with the President Marcos?
Well, despite the fact that we are in a very volatile political situation right now, the current leadership of the House, Speaker Martin Romualdez, has never used the pulpit or his influence to attack anybody or promote anybody. Sa kanya, steady lang yung kanyang position for the good of the country. Number two, yung ginawa po ng House of Representatives in the previous Congress to hold public officials accountable without fear or favor relates to the very core of what the people really wants and wants to see from their public officers. So ito ay vindication. Sabi ko nga, vindication, it also goes straight to the issue na pag nasa public office ka, should always maintain public trust because public office is public trust. Pinakita po yan, steady yung leadership ng House despite everything that is happening. Walang drama, wala pong pinakitang drama, walang pinakitang anuman na masasabi po nating ibaba ang usapin ng politika or ipababa ang usapin ng ating bansa, kung ano yung priority ng bansa doon sa gutter talk. So steady yung steady yung leadership. And since you've mentioned about the survey, kaya nga po kami ako excited na sa SONA because we're coming from a position of strength with the baseline support of the public. Nagpapasalamat po kami dahil this is actually the first time since post-EDSA na nagkaroon ng 57 trust rating ng House of Representatives. Kung di ako nagkamali, in 11 points. Increase in the trust rating of the Speaker. Nagpapakita po ito na we are on the right track and the people understands what we do. And everything that we do is for the benefit of the public and benefit of this country.
Kuya Ray, isang pahabol na lang po. Light question lang. Nung 19th Congress po, ang Young Guns ang bumida. Ngayon 20th Congress, meron pong emerging po na bagong block, yung ating hot shots. Bilang kayo po ay, ito po yung ating mga neophyte lawmakers na mostly ang kanilang parents po ay mga lawmakers din po.
Opo.
So, as Young Guns po, bilang kuya, ano po yung inyong maipapayo sa ating hot shots?
Alam niyo po, hindi naman po actually bumida, nagtrabaho lang po talaga kami. Oo. Nagpapasalamat nga po kami sa media because you also cover kung anong yung ginagawa dito sa House of Representatives and we are very thankful for that. Pangalawa, mahirap po. Actually, I am excited to work with the neophytes. No? I'm sure marami po silang may introduce at may co-contribute po sa laranganan ng legislation sa 20th Congress. Mahirap po kasi mag-advise di ba? Kasi pag sinabi pong legislation, kanya-kanya pong plataforma at agendas. Ang akin lang po masasabi is just let us commit ourselves to our mandate as legislators. Let us bring out what we can best contribute to the people and let's
Next on our list is Billy Vegas from Abante Politico.
Kung magandang hapon po.
magandang
Kung-
hapon.
Hihingi lang po ako ng reaction dun sa pinakalat po na fake daw na Beverly Hills Police Report to link the First Lady po dun sa pagkamatay ng businessman na si Paulo Tantongco.
Alam mo, the pain and the trauma that the losing a loved one is more than enough for family to handle. So, ang aking position po dyan is hindi po biro. So, dapat po tayo muna magkisimpatya sa namatayan. Dapat po tayo muna maging makatao. And we have to respect the privacy of those the bereaved family of itong namatay nga, no? That's number one. Number two, I don't think it should be used as to sensationalize the issue in order to gain some political scope. Yung portion po ng sinabi ni Yusek Claire Castro na talagang doctored and manufactured, even yung dokumento na lumabas. Ako, ito yung fight po natin na dapat nating sumpuin yung ganitong klaseng smear campaign na even using the death of a very private person to again smear our perceived political opponents. So medyo nasa boundary na po yan ng human dignity. So ang aking pong palagay, baka wala na po silang maitapon or makriticize. Kung kritisismo lang po, wala naman pong problema sa atin yon. Ako personally, if we're talking about policies, that's all right. You have all the right and you're entitled to your opinion to disagree with me. But this is not just criticism. This is about attacking a reputation and using the death of a certain individual to gain political score, which to me, dapat muna magrespetuhin po natin yung pamilya ng namatayan at maging makatao po tayo. Did I satisfy your question?
Isa pa, boss, na tanong. Hingi rin po ako ng reaction dun sa resolution sa Senate na pinupush nila ng house arrest po si former President PRRD.
Hindi ko po nabasa yung resolution na yon, pero ako personally I respect kung ano man po mga decision ng ating mga senador because they're entitled naman kung ano yung gusto nilang isulong, pero ang take ko po doon, this could be it could go on, I could sway both ways. It could also be detrimental to the cause that they're actually pushing kasi ang family of the victims also saying to the ICC na the reason why they're opposing the interim release of the former president is because once he's out, although closely monitored, he might use some degree of influence that he still enjoys. So having some senators, adopting this kind of resolution, it would reinforces the argument of the family of the victims that indeed the former president still managed to master some control and influence, no less than the Senate of the Philippines. So it is a double-edged sword. It could be detrimental. It could be a disadvantageous to the very cause that they're trying to pursue. Which I guess, for me, if you ask me personally, may reinforce the argument of the families of the victims.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Billy. For the final question, we have Gab Lalo from Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Sir, tanong ko lang kasi di ba meron pa tayong second requirement from the Senate regarding sa impeachment, yung parang certification na itutuloy pa rin ng 20th Congress. Meron na bang usap-usapan dito, sir? Meron na bang lumapit sa inyo about the resolution or meron na bang numbers to actually comply with the second requirement?
What do you mean the second requirement, yung certification? What's actually the exact question? Ano po ba pa? Sorry di ko na... Do we have the numbers?
I mean, sir, meron na bang discussions about that for the 20th Congress? Kumbaga, meron na bang lumapit sa inyo to say na, we will file a resolution, we need the support of this, of lawmakers to certify na itutuloy pa nga ng 20th Congress yung pursuit of the impeachment case?
Yung in terms of, kasi yung continuation of the impeachment trial is actually born out from the issue of the challenge for jurisdiction. So I guess the issue on jurisdiction has already been settled. Kasi nag-convene na nga impeachment trial. So whether or not the 20th Congress, the Senate, convening into impeachment court in the 20th Congress is concerned, that has already been answered by the Senate. Number two, your question whether somebody approached me, I still stand on my previous position that I support anybody, any officers, especially if the allegations are backed up by concrete hard evidences to hold all officers accountable to their actions. Sinusuportahan ko yan. And it's very clear. It's out in the public, 200 plus. Hindi ko lang eksakto, 215 ba? Yung 215 members of the House of Representatives signed the impeachment complaint and voted in favor of transmitting the impeachment 7 in verified impeachment complaints to the Senate. Number 3, I still stand. Number 3 is I would respect and maintain that the prosecuting House of Representatives would be ready for whatever eventualities that may happen. That we have capable lawyers, congressmen, members of the House, congressmen, congresswomen, and congressmen, congress members will also be in the prosecution team to pursue and to work, and to comply with whatever whatever the orders of the courts would ask them to provide.
Sir, isa na lang. Malapit na
Gawin
kasi...
mo lang dalawa.
Malapit na kasi yung budget season, sir. Are you willing again to sponsor the budget of the OVP?
Ako, I'm open to any task given to me. I am up for the challenge. Kung if the leadership finds it necessary that I should take any agencies that they deem fitting to my kung ano yung kaya ko, and then I would accept that. The challenge.
So, sir, parang medyo sumakit yung ulo niyo nakaraan. Paano
Alam mo,
kaya?
pag nasa serbisyo publiko ka, hindi mo maiwasan. Actually, ang nag-inspire sa'yo at saka nagpupush sa'yo sakit ng ulo. Kasi kung wala kang sakit ng ulo, wala ka sa serbisyo publiko.
Pahabol, Marian Enriquez from TV5.
Sir, sorry. Hindi. Sir, meron lang pong, baka pwede magpa-comment po. Kasi sinabi daw po ni Senator Joel Villanueva sa informal meeting nila, August 4, ang tinitingnan na pag-convene ng impeachment court at pag-oath ng senator judges. That's a week after po nung pag-open ng first regular session ng 20th Congress. Your comment on that?
Matagal na po namin sinasabi, nirerespeto po namin ng Senado ang kanilang timeline. 5 buwan na po kaming nag-antay, more than 5 months. 5 buwan din po kaming pinapakita ng aming respeto sa Senado bilang isang impeachment court. So kung ano po yung sa palagay nila ay tamang panahon or oras na sila ay mag-convene as an impeachment court na naaayon sa sinabi po ng Senate President Escudero na as soon as magkaroon ng SONA ay magko-convene sila ng impeachment, tutuloy nilang impeachment, ay yun po ay respeto namin.
Pero sir, that's a week, hindi po right after the SONA.
Sabi ko nga po, kapangyarihan po nila yan. Kami po dito sa House, we will maintain our position that we respect the Senate convening as an impeachment court and we will comply whatever orders they would ask us to do. Especially the prosec team, they are not only more than able but respectful legislators and respectful prosecution panel.
Sir, may other matters. May final po si Senator Amy Marcos na bill. Ang tawag po niya, President Rodrigo R. Duterte Act na yun nga po, yung pagbabawal po sana na magkaroon ng arrest and ililipat po sa ibang bansa without a local warrant. Your comment on that?
Any legislator or any senator, congressman man po yan o senado, meron po silang kapangyarihan o entitled ho sila na ipasa kung ano man yung mga gusto nilang ipasa. Ang sa akin lang po ay una, if it's about legal issue, if it's about justice and accountability, it should not be selective.
Follow-up? Go ahead, Rose.
Sorry po, follow-up ko lang. Since ang title din ng bill ay President Rodrigo Duterte Act, sa tingin niyo po selective tong bill na to?
I cannot comment on why Senator Amy Marcos chose the name to be the title of her proposed measure. I'm sure she's very open of her bias in favor of the president. So I would leave it at that. Maybe she has that kind of respect to the president. Again, all legislators are entitled to file measures that they think and they deem important to the country. But sa ang position ko po, it's when it comes to upholding justice, promoting justice, and making each and every one of us accountable to our actions, the law and the country and the government should not be selective in its application. Pare-pareho po yan. Pagdating po sa batas, egalitarian dapat po ang ating point of view.
Thank you, Marian and Rose. As there are no more questions from the media, we'll end today's press conference by hearing the final message of Congressman Sia.
Maraming salamat po sa ating mga kaibigan sa media at sana po ay nasagot mo natin ng inyong mga katanungan. And we look forward to having this kind of forum again, expressing our views and informing the public. Marami pong salamat sa inyo.
Maraming salamat po uli. Lanao del Sur, 1st District Representative Sia Alonto Adjong, one of the leaders of House Young Guns. Sa inyong lahat, maraming salamat. Magandang tanghali.